Hey, welcome back to Geocaching World. I'm Dave Dufour, and behind me is Andy Head Hard Hat Smith, and we are talking about travelers, and not the kind that get in the car and go for a ride. We're talking about GeoCoins and Travel Bugs. And we're talking about the Travel Bugs are really cool because you make those yourself. Now, do you have the same experience with the GeoCoins, and how are they different?
GeoCoins for me is actually one of those type of situations where it brings out the R pirate in me.
Yes.
It's one of those things that really amazed me when I found my first GeoCoin. I just sat there and looked at it and went, "Wow, this is so cool!" It literally, the GeoCoins are usually made out of a heavy metal, and are usually your different type of, copper, gold, silver type things, plus a whole host of other ones.
Right.
But the weight to them in your hand and just looking at them, shiny objects, it's really a lot of fun, and the creativity of them is amazing.
That's great. Okay, so but you don't. Do you make who makes these?
Actually, that's a really good question. A lot of times what will happen is geocaching organizations will make them.
Mm-hmm.
Personal people will make them. Now, you're talking some change here. When you make a geocoin, there's usually a minimum amount that you need to make, and
Right.
they can be relatively expensive. If you buy them from, say, an online store, which you can do as well. You can buy them from different geocaching places. They run anywhere from $10 to $15 on average.
Uh-huh.
When you make them, it's about half that. So you figure a minimum amount at half that rate. You got to have a little bit of change to make them.
Right. Okay. So they are. But now, normally you don't buy just one, right? You have to buy. So you distribute a lot of them, as opposed to the Travel Bug, which is sort of a one of a kind item.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll use them. They're great for events, or like, say, for example, for your organization that you have for geocaching. They're great for distribution. They're used for fundraising, all that type of thing. Other ones, people just like you and I, geocachers, just to make them to pass around.
Okay, and so they're like trading swag in essence. But if you find them in a geocache, again, they're not swag. They are something supposed to happen to them.
Yeah, they're personal property for somebody else. In other words, like, say, for example, I have a collection, and we'll show some examples of it.
Right.
I have probably about 400 different geocoins that I have purchased and keep in my own personal collection. When you find one in a geocache or at an event, that is handled exactly like the Travel Bugs are. They're loaded into or logged on geocaching.com, and you hang on to them. You appreciate them for a short amount of time. Usually 2 to 3 weeks is about average. You move it on and put it back into the wild by putting it into another geocache.
Right. Okay. Well, let's look at some of these coins that are some of your favorites. Then these have a number on the back, right, or two numbers.
Actually, what will happen is there are two numbers that's associated with either a travel bug or a geocoin. Now, this one's actually a specialty one. When you think of a geocoin, they're usually 2 to 3 inches in diameter and have a pretty good weight to it. There are some odd ones that are made that don't fit that bill. What you're looking at here is what is known as a pocket decoder. Now, you know what a puzzle cache is. Those are one of the type of geocaches where you have to solve some kind of logical problem solving to get the coordinates to find a geocache.
Right.
What this particular pocket decoder is made for, if you open it up, it has a cipher. Like you remember the old Malto Meal decoder rings?
Oh yeah, the little RVNN decoder ring, and
There you go.
the Terry and the
This
Pirates
is-
and all those. I'm not old enough for Terry and the Pirates, but I know what it is.
But that's the idea. There is a cipher or a set of ciphers, and in this particular case, interchangeable rings that you can put in there where you can literally make puzzle caches with it. It's
Wow.
really cool. It looks like a stopwatch or the old-fashioned watch, but it's actually got a code number and is trackable at geocaching.com, just like a travel bug.
Okay, cool. Now, if you have your own collection, by the way, now you can put those into circulation anytime you would feel like, if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, what will happen is, and I'll give you a little example here. What I've got here is looks like a photo album
Right.
made for GeoCoins. And inside, you can store your selection of different types of geocoins that you have in there. What will happen is, in a case like that, I usually get sometimes doubles. Because these things, like I said, you can put a chunk of change when it comes to actually purchasing these. And what will happen is I'll get a couple extras, and I will log them just like you would a travel bug, and put them out into the wild.
Okay, so you'll have maybe one that you keep and one that you put in the wild, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Again, you don't want to have a strong sentimental attachment to it because things do happen to them. Some of them have very long lives. Actually, when they get, believe it or not, into Europe, they tend to really take care of travelers up in the Europe way. But they can be lost, they can be stolen, things can happen to them.
Okay, well, let's look at some of your favorites here.
Absolutely. This is also another thing, and we'll get into this later on in the show as well. The larger coin. Okay, sorry about that. The larger coin on the left is the geocoin itself, and what is next to it is something that is known as a path tag.
Okay.
And path tags are smaller, about the size of a quarter, and we'll get into more details what those are in a bit.
Okay, great.
This is my favorite geocoin, period. I actually joined a geocoin club. Believe it or not, once a month I get a geocoin that gets sent to me. This one's my favorite. It's a 3-inch, or actually a 2.5-inch diameter to it. The side edges to it are like, you can kind of see it. There's what looks like a circular saw blade. There's a middle circular saw blade that sticks out a little bit more, and then on the other side of it is another circular saw blade. And then, of course, you got the cool, biker skull there with "Fear No Cash."
There you go.
One of my absolute favorite geocoins.
Yeah, that's cool. It's sort of it's a biker sort of Grateful Dead kind of look.
Yeah, and the cool thing about geocoins is everybody has their take on what it looks like and how they want it, and there's so many flavors of different things that they do with it. This kind of goes to give you another example. They're not all round like you would think a gold coin.
Right.
This one's more like a cubit, for an example.
That's cute. Cute, got a little skull down there.
Yes. Now this shows you some sense of humor that somebody had. This was literally made for a Halloween type geocoin with somebody that has a poor pumpkin that might be a little ill.
There we go. He looks like he's looks like he's thrown up a bumper. Maybe.
Inside joke.
There we go. That was sort of an inside joke. As soon as it came out, I realized that was not something that was going to be shown on the final show. Anyway, the folks in the chat room will love that.
That's why it pays to come and see us live when we record.
Seeing us live, you'd know what that joke meant. Okay, go ahead. What's next? And I like this one. I love this one.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah,
this
it is.
gives another example of more of that broken gravel kind of look to it. The creativity of the people that actually made this. This was actually made for an event out in California a while ago, and this is one of their favorite coins that they made for that.
Okay. Well, okay. So with geocoins and the travel bugs, what is it that we do to? Tell me about the path tags. That's what we need to do next. I guess that's sort of next on our agenda. What is that
Absolutely.
all about?
Now, path tags are a little bit different than what you would have with a geocoin. If you remember, geocoins are personal property of somebody else unless you buy one for your own collection.
Right.
Path tags are swag.
Okay.
So in other words, they're about the size, and I'll put it up here.
Right.
They're about the size of a quarter. They've got a hole in the center, and they have a unique ID number on the back of them.
Right.
If you go to a place called pathtags.com, you can register these. Now, when you find a path tag in a geocache, you can keep these. They're meant to be, because they cost probably about $1 or $2 to make. These are kind of your more expensive kind of swag, if you want to think of it. But you find these and you keep them, you record them on pathtags.com, and you add them to your collection.
Okay, so normally what is there? There's a coin and then maybe several path tags in a particular cache?
It really, path tags have actually started taking off because the cost of geocoins is on the expensive side. Path tags have started to become a lot more popular now. I've gone to some events where there are people with just, hundreds of these things that and they trade them. That's the other thing too. You can go through and trade these, so they're a lot of fun.
Okay, I've got the website up here just so that people can see what the Path Tags website looks like. And just real quick, there we go. Yeah, that's pathtags.com. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about logging travel bugs and geocoins, and probably a little bit more wrap up on the whole concept of travelers, including promotionals and some other things like that. So stay with us right here on Geocaching World. We'll be right back. Got a question or a comment about geocaching? Send it to geocache at rvnn.tv or leave us a voicemail at 877-578-RVNN extension 714. Tell us about a cache you especially enjoyed finding, and we may feature it in an upcoming episode. Follow RV Newsnet on Facebook and Twitter, and you can receive text messages to alert you when we're streaming live by texting RVNN to 72727. That way, you can join us live in the chat room, ask questions, and become part of the RV Newsnet family. Remember, any photos or other material submitted to us become the property of RV Newsnet and cannot be returned. For more TV like this from the world of RVs, head to rvnn.tv.